Bears fans, YouTube, welcome back to another episode of Bears Fans Talk. I'm your host, Johnny C. MD, here as always with the main event, Kevin Haggerty. If you are new here, please like, comment, subscribe. We are here for weekly Bears content and the third consecutive year, the most important season in Bears fandom history for the third year in a row. It's crazy to say that, but I think that's definitely where we're at.
Well, we started with Justin Fields. Are we going to make or break? Is he going to be our quarterback of the future? To Caleb Williams' rookie season, to now Ben Johnson's first season as a head coach, and the arrival of Caleb Williams.
Yes, yeah. So I think when we started this podcast, we were like, this is going to be the arrival of Justin Fields. He's got DJ Moore now. He's going to make that jump now that he's got a wide receiver one. Nope, scratch that. We're running it back with Eberflus, but now we've got this generational talent.
Generational.
Yes. And we drafted a top 10 wide receiver, and everything's going to fall in place last year. And it didn't. Yep. But anyway, getting ahead of ourselves. We're here to talk about mostly the joint practice and the preseason game versus the Dolphins, which ended kind of anticlimactically in a 24-24 tie.
Yes.
So that's going to be what we're talking about, the bulk. The decision for Ben Johnson to not play a good majority of the starters, and some key takeaways from that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But first, I want to kick it off to our first segment, our clip of the week.
Sure.
So this is Connor Burns. He shows up in my Instagram feed quite a bit. I think he's got some, interesting contact out there. He's out there, at least in volume.
Yeah.
I like him.
He seems all right. I've seen a couple of his clips.
I'm not sure if I think we're going to need to start this over. 1 second.
I might have found some absolutely free money with the Bears this season. Caleb Williams' line for this year, his over-under for yards passed, is 3,625.5 yards. Last year, through all this shit, going through multiple offensive coordinators, having to run with Shane Waldron's offense, having one of the worst offensive lines in football, it was an absolute mess. He threw for 3,541 yards. Now you're asking him to throw for 80 more? That's it?
So I had some thoughts on this, and I want to hear what your reaction to that is first.
Okay.
And this harkens back. I think that first year of the podcast, I put money down on the overs for Justin Fields passing yards and touchdowns. I was both wrong. Mm-hmm. And some of that was he missed 4 games of injury.
That was baked in. That was baked into the line.
Probably. But what are your thoughts?
I'm just going to lead off with this. Vegas is not in the business of losing money.
Nope.
And they have mathematicians, actuaries, and now AI running these models. Mm-hmm. They are not in the business of losing money. That is the line, and it's going to be, it doesn't matter what happens, it is going to be
tight. It's going to be tight to that line.
Yeah, it's going to be super tight to that line. And, I think the real takeaway here is, that number isn't high enough. Mm-hmm. I was hoping Vegas would be higher on him than that number, because if that's what they think they're going to do, he's not going to hit 4K this year.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's scary, because I want a 4,000-yard passer.
Yeah. Well, here's where I'm at this, and I wanted to use this clip specifically. I chose the clip of the week this week because I wanted to segue a little bit into our podcast last week. And first of all, I want to say thank you. Good response to last week's episode.
Thank you.
Lots of comments, super fun to read. And I found myself just feeling like I was the nidus for a lot of pessimism in the Bears fan community, because of the fact that we had an argument about what Caleb Williams' ceiling was.
Sure. Which to be fair, I think even within our friend group was Phillip Rivers, that's
Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. So it doesn't matter that he didn't get a ring, but whatever. That's a conversation for last week.
I'm just saying, Phillip Rivers, come on. But if he can't be as good as Phillip Rivers, though, that's scary.
Well, I just want to say
ceiling.
I just want to plant my flag as someone who is ride or die with Caleb Williams.
Yes.
I don't care if he is good, great, or awful. I want him to spend the entirety of his career as a Bear, and I'm going to die on that hill. Yeah. And it is, that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Sure.
I'm just saying I'm all in. And me saying that, I think that there are some some red flags here, and this might not be the breakout season that we've been calling for from the Bears for the last 3 years, is saying that Caleb Williams is bad, or Tyson Bagent, as one of the commenters said, should be our starter. And I think this kind of highlights why I think that.
Yeah. Before we continue, I want to counter that. I don't think there's red flags. I think there's a bunch of beige flags out there right now.
Flags. I'm gonna. Go
There's
ahead.
beige flags
Okay.
stuff. Like I'm not, and I don't think there's tons of red flags. There's a ton of beige flags. I'm concerned he's not playing football right now. I'm very concerned that he's not playing football. I am happy though.
He's not playing a preseason game.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like, I am happy though that like Tyson came out. Like he looked like the truth are out there. The guy who's, I mean, he looked pretty good again.
Tyson was fine. He threw an interception that was off somebody's hands. He missed some throws. Tyson Bagent.
But he came back and he's a gamer.
He's not threatening.
He's a gamer.
He's not threatening
No.
Caleb Williams' job.
No, I'm not saying that either, but he's a gamer is all I'm saying. Like, it's good to see at least. I want to see Caleb do that. I want to see Caleb game.
So to this specific line, I'm going to bet the under. I'm not going to bet the under. I'm not going to bet the under because I hate these future bets. I feel like these bets that they're just sitting, hanging on your money for a year are in and of themselves, they're losing money.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway,
That's how that works.
So here's what I think some realistic expectations for this year should be. So everyone thinks, Ben Johnson is going to come in and instantly make everything better, and he might. But it is not the standard to expect a head coach to come in and turn your 5-win team into a 10-win team. It happens on occasion, but there is inherently going to be some growing pains.
Yep.
And the growing pains, I feel like everyone just says, like, will resolve themselves over the course of a preseason or maybe like the first 2 weeks of a season. It could take – they always talk about, like, this is – I think they said this for Justin Fields. This is Justin Fields' second season in this system, so he's still learning it. Like, we could be experiencing growing pains for the entirety of this year, and that could still be normal, and that doesn't mean Caleb Williams is bad, but that could just be something that we expect.
Yeah, but
Should expect.
To the contrary of that, though, all the great coaches, like Sean McVay, immediate success. Mike McDaniels.
Was it immediate success?
Immediate success. Like,
Dan Campbell.
no. But he inherited.
He lost like his first 10 games.
But he inherited an atrocious team, and they were very bad.
Maybe they were worse than the Bears, but the Bears are not we're not standing on rock solid ground when Ben Johnson came here.
I agree, but at the same time, the Bears underperformed like significantly, and like
Probably.
we don't have Thomas Brown as the head coach anymore. Like let's take a step back for a second and realize what happened last year. Now, I'm not saying we should go leaps and bounds better, but like you should be a good squad that like Ben Johnson has a decent roster.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. Yes. Better than probably Dan Campbell came into in the Lions.
If Ryan Poles got an extension for 5 years, someone thinks he's doing something right. Like he's putting together a roster. Now it's Ben Johnson's job to coach that team.
I think it's like, I really like what they're going for here in terms of the sense of consistency. But going back to this number where Caleb Williams only needs to throw 80 more yards than he did last year to surpass that. Here's why I would pick the under. And this is really just, for anyone bettors, don't tell me, like I said, I'm not actually going to put any skin in the game on this. But Caleb Williams started 17 games last year, which is a very rare feat, especially for a rookie, especially for a guy who got hit the way he did.
Got sacked a lot.
Yes. So what if he doesn't play 17 games? Then you're behind the 8 ball on that bet.
Sure. Also,
I do believe that Ben Johnson's style of offense is going to focus more heavily on the run.
He does like the run.
Yes,
they talked about
play action. Play action is going to be huge in this offense.
Yep.
So I think that there's going to be some more established run, and I don't think that. Caleb spent a lot of time being down, having to sling it and come back in the fourth quarter. A lot of garbage yards. So I'm picking the under. If you're a bettor and you're looking at that line, I think that it's going to be even Caleb Williams could have a pretty good season and still not hit that number. Is what I'm trying to say.
It's a clickbaity video for sure, but if I've learned anything over them legalizing gambling, it's that Vegas
knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
I saw a post about people using Vegas lines.
Sure, for fantasy.
Yeah, to pick players.
Yep.
Because Yahoo put some projection that Christian McCaffrey is supposed to be this much, but Vegas only has his line at this. And you know what? I think that might be something I look into a little bit.
I've definitely been taking a look at it myself. Yeah. When you're here's a pro tip: if you're trying to stream someone like a tight end, why don't you check their anytime touchdown? What it is for the odds? That's a pro tip right there.
Yeah. I mean, how do they make those like so tight? I don't know.
How do you? Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly,
I mean,
Johnny.
For stuff like that, like streamers like tight ends, anytime touchdown, that kind of feels like junk.
But Vegas gets it right more often than not. Who's got the best odds?
Yeah.
If you're gonna see it's like plus 4,000, I'm like, that's
probably not.
Yeah, right.
That's not a bad idea for like anytime touchdowns. I wonder if that's super like queryable, like to figure out like to like look up really quickly. But anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Sure.
And basically, I just wanted this whole diatribe to start to be like, hey, just because I don't think that we're necessarily going to be like this streaming like playoff team, like dark horse that's going to come in this season, doesn't mean that I think that this is bad. Doesn't mean that I think that Caleb Williams or Ben Johnson is bad. I'm saying that it is realistic to think that this could be somewhat of an underwhelming season.
You know what the problem is that like we wouldn't even have the dark horse storyline. If the Bears exceed all expectations, everyone's going to be like, well, they did exactly what we expected them to do. They have the number 1 overall pick to generational talent in Caleb Williams, and they have Ben Johnson, the hottest head coach there ever was.
Yeah.
This is exactly what they're supposed to be doing. It's not like we'd be like the Commanders or the Texans. It's not like that awesome story coming out of nowhere. It's you guys are performing where we expect you to perform.
But you know what? Vegas isn't expecting them to do that, and I think a lot of people like I sent you this one clown on Instagram. He's like, the Bears are going to be picking first in the 2026 draft, and I'm like, yeah, okay, man.
Well, then we'll get what's his name? Who's the new Manning? Archie Manning.
Archie Manning. Could you imagine?
Quarterback competition right there.
If we go 2-15 and get the first overall pick, I'll entertain the idea of picking my flag off of Caleb Williams' corpse and putting it into Arch Manning.
Another generational talent. Can you imagine both of them in camp?
I think it's unclear as to whether or not he's actually going to enter the draft. But anyway,
if I'm him and it's the Bears, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm staying another year. Collecting that NIL money.
I think it kind of becomes a little bit more of a trend at that point. Like
sure.
if they're drafting another quarterback in the first round.
Sure.
But anyway, so kind of bringing us to the only bit of football we have to cling on to right now is this Friday. I've never really spent so much time thinking about a practice, but the Friday practice where they did team versus team, Bears and Dolphins, and that was where it seemed to be Ben Johnson was putting most of his eggs in that basket in terms of getting his first teamers reps.
Yep.
And what have you heard about that practice? Because I actually did some deep diving. I actually re-downloaded Twitter and was using that to hear what some of the beat writers were saying.
It's also called X, I believe.
It's called X, yeah, but it's always Twitter.
I mean, tell me what you've heard actually.
So basically, it sounded like the defense really punched Tua and the Dolphins in the mouth. I think it said Tua threw 3 interceptions. The defense was flying around.
Wow.
There's a great viral clip of some sort of Dolphins beat writer basically saying the Bears were dirty and they crossed the line a couple of times. And they're clearly trying to create this image of just kind of being like this scrappy bunch. And I loved it. Like Cry Me River, put that in my coffee cup.
That's a
Dolphins press.
That feels like a huge DA thing to do, right? Like
Dennis Allen.
Yeah, I'm loving him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He is a defensive coordinator. Like, here's the best thing about Ben Johnson is if you remember back towards the end of season 2 when we were doing our searching look, I was like, I want a leader of men. I really don't want a guy who's gonna be playing calls and has to be the head coach. So, but you bring in Ben Johnson, great. He's obviously gonna call the plays. When you bring a guy like Dennis Allen, DA like that, he is a former head coach.
Yes, I completely agree.
He can run that defense like a head coach, and you can literally, you don't even have to worry about what he's doing over there on the defensive side of the ball.
That was a big problem in the Eberflus era, where I think that Eberflus was focusing on the defense, and he was really just letting Shane Waldron do his thing, and he fell off the rails fast.
As he's shaking, play calling.
God, I forgot about that.
I'll never forget that clip. But with DA calling the defense now, it's almost like you kind of have your own offensive coordinator, your own defensive coordinator, and Ben Johnson can do both. And I love that. And what I saw from that second team, that defense, I mean, I know it's a preseason game, but that goal line stand, let's go. Yeah, so LFG boys. So, that is exactly what I want to see.
So I was unfamiliar with Dennis Allen's game prior to really.
He's Saints head coach. He was like,
he wasn't the targeting guy though, right?
He wasn't
there for the targeting.
That was right? Sean Payton.
Yeah.
100% Sean Payton.
I don't know, maybe he was defensive coordinator. He wasn't, but I what I really like about his style is it seems like it's very much a lot of man-to-man. They brought that up a couple of times in the broadcast for the preseason game. And I think he's going to be like focusing on like the big play. And it really likens back to like, you know, that Lovie Smith era of just like the peanut punch and stuff like that, which I'm down for. I think Eberflus, who is also a defensive-minded guy, and I think his defense, you know, did, you know, reasonably well through stints of his tenure. But they were very much a bend but don't break defense. They weren't like a big play defense. And we grew up in the era of, you know, the offense isn't moving the ball, the defense needs to score a touchdown or we're losing this game.
Exactly.
And it never really happened under Eberflus. We could be sitting here in 10 weeks being like, oh, we let up like 3 80-yard touchdowns because Brisker was trying to ball hawk too many times. So that could be the case. But so far, you know, I think it'll at least be an exciting defense. And they really gave it to, like, the Bears defense, everyone says pretty unanimously in that joint practice, which I'm saying is more important than the preseason game right now. They won the day.
Good.
Yeah. Conversely, Caleb Williams came out first 11-11s through a pick. And there isn't great video of it, but I saw what I saw someone on the sidelines. It seems like it was kind of to nobody. And they seemed kind of shaky. They kind of seemed like kind of tough getting it on and off the ball. There were some interceptions. It sounds like they played better against the Dolphins defense than the Dolphins offense played against our defense.
Okay.
But there was still like a lot of issues. I think Colson Loveland had a long touchdown, but I think Tyson Bagent threw it.
Sure.
So offense shaky, defense looked pretty solid. Kind of saw something similar in the preseason game too.
So here's what I'm going to say about that is, you know, it's always more difficult to get the offense flowing than it is to get
That's
like
true.
defense is like more like, sure, you have a play call out on defense after that, but it's hard to execute on the offensive side of the ball. And you see that like week 1, 2, 3, and 4, like whether you play preseason games or you don't, like defenses always outperform offenses to start the season. And that's just tends to be, unless you're Patrick Mahomes or formerly Aaron Rodgers. Right, and like you know the system inside and out. Yeah. So I'm not surprised to hear that. I am, you know, a little upset. What was that clip when Caleb Williams like threw it sidearm behind that?
That was a great play. Yeah. So,
was that from the joint practice?
No, I think that was something separate. It was against the Bears D.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not in the Miami game. I think it might have been like the day before or something.
So like those clips are cool to see Caleb do that. Like, hey, awesome, like super phenomenal play, dude. But like, how about the consistency in between those highlight reel star-studded plays, right? I'd rather have you know, play B+ ball and then see like an A+ every once in a while. Like, I want to see, like, if it's A+ and it's like C- the rest of the way, I want to see B+ all day.
Yeah.
Especially with this defense, it seems like we have.
So to take a step back and then be a downer. Okay, so like there are reasons for optimism, and I like what Dennis Allis is doing. But I remember. So what was a big issue with the defense last year?
They were on the field too much.
On the field too much, yeah. But like, they didn't get a great pass rush. There wasn't really a good complement to Montez Sweat.
Sure. Okay.
And we added some pieces to the defensive line, but it felt very similar to when we were sitting here last year and we're like, we've got a bad offensive line. And then we added a couple of pieces like Ryan Bates. Like basically we added, it seemed like a lot of like depth guys and made them starters.
Yeah, a lot of
And we kind of
players,
convinced ourselves into thinking like, oh, well, they could be good. So we did something. We added players to this offensive line that was bad. I think I have a little bit more optimism about the defensive line players that we added, like Odengbo and Jared Grady, I believe is his name. Like some guys who I think do have some serious upside, but I don't think that we made ourselves much better on defense, and our defense was pretty bad at times last year. So like that is the thing of pessimism that I'm adding about the defense. Like I think Dennis Allen could be a very strong addition, and maybe he teaches these guys to fly around, and maybe they play a little bit more of the style they're hoping to play, because I think we got some physical guys. But I think that could be something that we're sitting here in 8 weeks being like, wow, we still have a really terrible pass rush, and we're getting gashed on the run again too.
Yeah,
like we're very thin at the linebacker position.
That's apparent.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, Austin Booker had a great game though. Like just an unbelievable game.
Forced a fumble. He's a guy that could come up and maybe like make a statement this year and like have a breakout year. It's possible.
He was drafted 4th or 5th round as a project boy last year.
Yes, maybe 3rd, because 4th round, maybe it was 5th. Because
it was
4th round was
Tory Taylor.
Taylor, I believe.
Yes.
So
We all know the Tory Taylor.
I think Booker got drafted before him, but I could be wrong on that.
But I know they moved up to get him, and everyone had a ton of hype on him. He was more of like a project guy. But, like, I'm just saying that, though, he had a great preseason. Like, that's a guy who can step up and be a great edge rusher. That would be amazing for the Bears. I would really like that a lot.
So you have some thoughts. So then, like I said, transitions to the actual preseason game. And we had a great preseason last year. We won every single game.
Mm-hmm.
We came out of it thinking that, like, you know, there were some times where the offense struggled, but it seemed like we had – my takeaway was, like, we always seem to win in the second half with our second and third rounds. And I kind of use it as a credit. Like, Eberflus has a system in place, and, like, the fact that we're seeing, like, our depth guys doing pretty well, that made me feel like they're being coached pretty well, and it turned out to be completely wrong. So I don't put much stock into anything that happened in the preseason game, especially because the starters didn't play, at least a lot of them. So I know you had some big opinions about that.
Well, like, I just think, like, Caleb should be out there, like, right, wrong, or indifferent. Like, a new system. Like, there's nothing you can do to replicate, you know, live ball. It's you got to get out there and you got to play ball. And, like, it's kind of upsetting he's not there. I'm not sure what they're going to do for the second preseason game coming up against the Bills, but, like, I really want to see Caleb out there. I was really happy to see Luther Burden out there making some plays.
Yeah.
Colson Loveland out there making some plays. Like, that's great to see. If you want to sit Swift. Like, he doesn't need to play. But, like, even if Caleb goes out there and just hands the ball off 3 times, like, I just want to see him out there in uniform. And I think a lot of you know, fans that went to that game wanted to see that too.
What do you think the reasoning for not doing it was? Why do you think he didn't do it?
It can be a plethora of reasons, Shawnee.
What do you think?
Worst case, he's really not ready.
Yeah, that's what crosses my mind.
That is the absolute worst case. Is that, like, we're seeing a lot of negative stuff out there, like some ducks and stuff like that, and, like, maybe he really isn't it. That's worst case. Best case, he is so prepared he doesn't even need live action.
I don't think that's clearly not what it is.
I mean, I don't know what else it is then, John.
But so I think it's probably so. This is the way, you know, I only know this from reading about it after the fact, after they made this decision to not play the starters, this is kind of the way the Lions operated, I believe, as well. And in fact, I think I heard them say on the broadcast that this was Tua's first time playing in a preseason game.
I heard that too, but like, I heard that as well. Like, yeah, because that's what you should want to do. You should want to play in the preseason.
Well, no, but it's like he hadn't been to this point.
Well, he knows he needs to be right.
But okay, but like the point is, it's like it's not super out of the ordinary to not play your starting quarterback, at least in the first preseason game. So
Caleb is he's a sophomore, second year. Like, he hasn't earned the right, like Aaron Rodgers has earned the right not to play in the preseason.
I mean, we're talking about Tua.
Jared Goff has earned the reason not to play in preseason. Okay,
you can make that argument.
Matthew Stafford has earned the right.
You can make that argument, but Ben Johnson seemed to put priority in, like, this combined, like, you know, joint practice,
yes,
which Eberflus really didn't do. I don't remember us talking. I don't think they did it last year. I don't think they did, like,
it's such a trend. Such a trend.
And I think maybe just trying to keep things in a little bit more controlled situation.
Which feels like you're protecting them.
Well, maybe it's like, you know, what we saw last year, like the red flags we saw from Caleb last year was just like they had like their couple of plays and they tried to play within the offense and it didn't work, and then it just kind of devolved into him just kind of doing the scat back stuff. Mm-hmm. So maybe Ben is just saying, like, we don't want you, like, running these bad habits right now. Let's do this into a controlled setting. I think that he'll play this coming week. I think that is probably what will happen. I think he'll play, like, John, a series or a quarter.
We have less than a month to the season. If they haven't figured that out yet, it's not getting corrected in less than 30 days.
Well, I think that he'll play these last two.
He has to.
If he doesn't play at all the preseason, I'll be like, okay, that's a big red flag as well.
Those beige flags go to red.
But yes. I can
fire red.
But I can understand the thinking. If they're more focused on what's going on in practice.
Fine.
And, like, because you know what, practice doesn't make perfect. I'm not a subscriber of just, like, get as many reps. Perfect practice makes perfect. And, like, doing things the right way in the right setting, and then going out there, not just being like, hey, you're in a game now. And then Caleb's, like, gamer mentality takes over, and just being like, whatever, I'm just going to scramble. And
want quality over quantity is what you're telling me.
100%. Like, I think quality reps are more important than the quantity reps, just because it's in a game.
I would agree with a guy like Matthew Stafford. A guy who is, 18-year veteran of the league. Like, he's got a back thing. Like, just let the guy stay healthy. Let's just get the quality reps. At this point, like, I want Caleb getting some quantity in there and getting like do it and do it and do it and do it till it makes sense.
I agree, but
again,
they ran according to Ben Johnson. They ran again. They ran 70 plays, I think, prior to the game starting. So I mean, I think it's out there. I guess where we can just end this on is just a general thought on Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
So let's just take like the last 2 or 3 minutes and like, what is your first gut check vibe on Ben Johnson and where the season is going?
Mm-hmm.
And then
you want me to go?
Well, yeah, I want you to go because I'm not even sure if I have an answer to this.
I love it.
Okay.
I loved his post-game interview. I love his nonsense. Mm-hmm. I love his demeanor. I like objectively, like the eye test passes the eye test. Mm-hmm. Like I mean, let's put it this way: if he was my boss, if Ben Johnson was my boss, I would be like, man, I gotta like step my game up. Like this dude he seems no nonsense, like runs a tight ship. And I love the attitude that he's bringing to the Chicago Bears. It is completely different from Flus, who seems like he was a great players guy. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. This is the NFL. I'm not looking for a little more laissez-faire. Yeah. I'm not looking for a best friend. I'm looking for a guy who's going to run a tight ship. He looks like a guy who stays up all night and maybe not watches film, but like he obsesses. Yeah. He obsesses over being perfect.
Yeah. I don't know how things are behind the scenes because I think that we tried to guess the way things were behind the scenes with Eberflus and we were wrong. I think he passes the eye test as well. I do think that he is excited. I like what the players are saying and just the way that it's a whole different vibe. It's very like structured, and I think you can overdo that. So, but I think I'm mostly erring on the side of positive. I actually kind of liked he had like in one of his pressers as he ended the game, like he kind of seemed to be at least a little bit bummed that they tied. They didn't win.
Oh, like I was thinking the same thing.
And I think that's kind of like a strange, like almost refreshing way to feel about it because it's like a preseason game, and you never hear a coach talking about being upset about losing a preseason game.
Still want to win.
But you know what? Like as a fan watching and being like, wow, we could have won this game if we executed a little bit better. And like I think that's how you should feel as a coach, and I think you should have a little bit of that competitive spirit.
I was kind of surprised. Like, I know they're the backups, but I was like watching the end of the game. I was like, a little drama here. Like, this could be like, fun. I kind of like, I know it's just preseason, but I really did want them to like win the game.
Yeah. I mean, of course, like, and that's the way you should feel. And like, I think it's kind of just like a very stock coach thing to be like, it's preseason or whatever.
But like sometimes like, like, it's all a game of inches. The ball falls your way, doesn't fall their way. Like that would just been like a really good feel good. Like the ball's gonna fall our way this year. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just would have been.
At the end of the day, like
it's just
I don't really care. I don't really care if they won or lost. And the last thing I want to say is, so we were talking about like McCaskey was on the program and getting interviewed, and I don't think he said anything much of substance. I mean, he kind of said like how they're paying respects to Virginia McCaskey, who died at 102, I think in the offseason, right? This is kind of being like the first Bears game since she was gone. But he also made a comment about like Ben Johnson. He's just like, yeah, so we got the guy that we think we got the best guy, and we got the guy that everybody wanted us to get. And very rarely do those two things kind of coexist. Well, you're shaking your head.
No,
yes, I'm just like F you, George McCaskey.
I
like,
love it.
But it just kind of made it seem like, yeah, we don't really care who everyone thinks that we should get.
It's what you want to hear.
I guess. I don't know. Like, but for a guy who's just been wrong so much of the time.
So here's two things.
Like, maybe you should be caring a little bit about, like, I mean, I'm
going to say two things. We went to the draft day party at Soldier Field, and remember we were walking, and remember like, yo, that's George McCaskey.
He was a super, super nice guy.
Okay.
He was a super, super nice guy.
Like,
he stopped and took pictures with everybody.
Yeah. I was like, yo, is that George McCaskey? And he came over and took pictures with us. That was pretty awesome. Yeah. Okay.
He was a chill dude.
Second thing, when I found out that he walks around with Green Bay Packers like urinal, he has.
I don't think I know what you're talking.
Oh, he walks around. Like the urinal cakes that you have at the bottom of urinals.
Yeah.
So he has ones that are green. That are like green. They have the Green Bay logo on them, and
he just walks around with them.
And he tosses them in urinals when he goes to the bathroom. So you like piss on the Green Bay.
Does he pick them up and take them with him when he's gone?
No, but it's just like I love that about him. I just think that's.
I
really
haven't
cool.
heard that. That doesn't feel like the type of.
You haven't heard that?
I don't know anything about George McCaskey, but he doesn't look like the type of guy who walks around with urinals.
He also I think he's an umpire for like little league games. Like he
That
just
tracks. He kind of looks like an umpire for Little League games.
he seems like a really cool guy. So like he's just saying what he needs to say to be a good owner.
Fair enough. All right. I think that's all I got. So this week it's the Bills, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if Caleb plays. Nothing really has come out yet to kind of confirm or deny that. I think he probably will. I think they'll at least get a series out of him. And I think it's going to be like one series, maybe two series, and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Kevin, any parting words?
Let's go Bears. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. If you're still watching, you're a real one. Do you think that Caleb Williams should have played this first game? Does it not matter? What are your expectations for the season? Please drop a comment. We really liked reading them.
It was fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, the comments last week were great. I responded to most of them. But like I said, if you're still watching, you're a real one. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Next week, maybe in a couple of days. Bye.